So our story continues with us seeing the once calm and collected angel Mojito, with a look of despair as he whimpers at just seeing his own god die before his eyes, still grabbing tightly onto the energy ring around his neck, struggling fruitlessly to escape now that all his angelic powers have left him. Ultra Vegito meanwhile remains in the air, still in position, staring at the bloody mess that is now Sidra, and with a signature smirk lets out, "Wow! Look at all that blood, Sidra! And here I thought you were only full of crap." As following this, Vegito then raises his arm, slowly saying as he does, "But I think it's time to say our final goodbyes. Don't you think, Angel?" "What? No! Leave Lord Sidra alone! You've done enough, you monster!" Leaving Mojito to scream and struggle in anguish in the background even more as the heartless Vegito continues to raise his arm until... Hakai! With a thunderous roar, Ultra Vegito shouts the final words he reserves for all gods after killing them, using their own technique to send them to the realm of nothingness. And like clockwork, Sidra's deceased and decapitated body then proceeds to disintegrate to dust. Like a sandcastle breaking down, the once god of destruction of Universe 9 is nothing more than a memory now. No! No! Lord Sidra! I failed you. As one final time, the angel Mojito, who had attended to Sidra for millennia, now watches as his life as he knows it is changed for eternity, seeing not only his lord, but his student and friend be erased forever. Eventually leaving Vegito, standing with his arm out and with Sidra now completely gone, as Vegito finally says, "Now! Let's move on to you, Mojito. Want me to take your head off first? Or do you prefer an old-fashioned Hakai while you're still alive?" Vegito! But now that sorrow and sadness has shifted completely to complete rage and anger, unbefitting of an angel, as his emotions take over him and he responds, You demon! Mark my words, you will pay for this! Your time is coming soon, Vegito. The minute my father arrives will be your last minute in existence. For what you did to the gods and myself, you will pay for 1,000 lifetimes! But Vegito, upon hearing this, is almost excited by the words, not bothered in the slightest by these same threats all the gods have made to him before, as he sarcastically responds, "Oh, I'm quaking in my boots, Mojito. Not your big bad midget for a father. Oh, whatever will I do? Struggle and say all you want, Angel. You know as well as I do, this is the end for you. If I were you, I'd have made my last words a lot more positive than those. But each to their own, I guess. Enjoy nothingness, you weakling." As Vegito, just like before, begins raising his hand, ready to close it at any instant and snap off Mojito's head identically to Sidra's, upping the tension as he grimaces his face, staring at Mojito and yells, But suddenly something happens. Vegito's face becomes full of shock as on his left shoulder, blood begins to pour out. But from what? Let go of my brother, demon! What? As out of nowhere, what appears to be a young girl suddenly falls from the sky, wielding a familiar staff that effortlessly cuts through Vegito's arm like butter, shockingly severing it completely from the God Killer as he watches it separate in complete shock. You! My arm! You! Leaving him to be left unable to even form coherent sentences from the completely unexpected turn of events. As it is soon revealed, finally, the young girl is none other than Cusu, the Angel of Universe 10 who was mysteriously missing from action when Vegito assassinated Rumchi, an overlooked mistake he will now regret for the rest of his life. As Cusu continues, "I'll be taking those rings back now, Vegito, even if it means with your arm itself too. I have no idea why Lord Rumchi instructed me to stay when he went to confront you, but nothing will hold me back now from protecting my siblings." Cusu, I thought you had died. There's no way. The sudden arrival, of course, of the petite angel causes Mojito to instantly question in disbelief whether what he sees is really his older sister or just a last, fleeting apparition before his untimely death. But eventually, Cusu moves from the stunned, in paralysis from the shocked Vegito and flies straight towards her brother, yelling, "Mojito, are you okay?" Which immediately then validates Mojito's thoughts as he yells back with a beaming smile, "Cusu, it really is you! I can't believe it! Good going on injuring that monster! You really saved me, sister!" Eventually, as Cusu arrives next to Mojito, she attempts to calm down her brother, who still clings onto the energy collar around his neck, as she explains the situation that went down in her own universe, saying, "Of course, I wouldn't let my little brother go out like that. This Vegito has already managed to erase Lord Rumchi, and even killed 2 Supreme Kais while he was at it too. Lord Rumchi had instructed me to stay put and not interfere under any circumstance, and as his attendant, I obeyed. But now that he's gone, I just couldn't stand by and watch anymore. Mojito, it's been a long time since we ever fought together in our training days with Father. But today, we'll put an end to this together, for the sake of all our brothers and sisters." But hearing this, Mojito can't help but still look at Cusu with confusion and replies, "Cusu? He just killed Lord Sidra, and you're saying he killed Rumchi too? Then what do you mean, sister? We can stop him as we are now. You know as well as I do, as soon as our god dies, our angelic powers instantly become inactive. I am completely powerless right now, and so should you. It's a big mystery how you were even able to damage Vegito like that. What's going on?" Cusu, though, seemingly anticipating such a line of questioning, just smiles back and replies, "Haha, well, that would be the case normally. But many years ago, Father told me that within my staff, and a number of others, he built certain emergency functions. I do not know the powers the other angels have, but he told me mine was to manually reactivate our angel abilities, but only for 48 hours. Again, he made it clear that it had to be used only in the most necessary of situations, but with Father not having done anything about this monster yet, I'd say this was more an emergency than any. My only issue is, I've expended most of my time by now. But for you, once I reactivate your powers, you'll have a full 48. You need to use it wisely, Mojito." And after hearing this explanation, rather than worry about the time limit, Mojito looks at Cusu with a smile and says, "So the rumors were true. Father really did have his favorites. I was never given any special powers, but I guess Father never really did bother to talk to me much. But you, Cusu, what a ridiculous power to have embedded solely for his little Miss Perfect. No matter about the 48 hours, that along with whatever time you have left should be more than enough 2-on-1, and this now one-armed Vegito fellow will be done for. Let's do this, Cusu! To which Cusu then nods back with a serious look and replies, "Got it, brother. Now stand still. This will be quick." And with that, Cusu immediately fires off a beam of divine white aura from the palm of her hand. As instantly, the energy ball hits and surrounds Mojito in the iconic Ultra Instinct aura we know the angels for, surprising even Mojito himself as he comments, You weren't kidding, Cusu. I can feel my energy return. No, I feel even stronger than before. This is outstanding." And so just like that, we then see for the first time dual angels, brother and sister, surrounded in divine mastered Ultra Instinct aura, ready to take on Vegito with all their might, with Cusu screaming, "Alright, Mojito, I probably only have an hour left. For the sake of Father, no, for the sake of the entire multiverse, we will avenge our fallen brothers." To which Mojito gets his staff in position and replies, "Certainly, my sister, I will enjoy this demon's final moments." God damn it! But meanwhile, back with Vegito, the adrenaline from the shock of seeing what Cusu did to him finally fades, and the pain and burn of his now blood-spewing shoulder begins to set in, as he clutches his shoulder to stem the blood and yells angrily, "You! What have you done to me? My arm! My rings! You'll die 1,000 deaths for this, angel!" And now the look of anger never before seen so intensely on Vegito's face, as veins bulge over not only his face, but in the whites of his eyes too. He lets out intimidatingly, "First, your damn daddy locks me up for 10 years of my life, making your own brother Whis off himself just to make things right. And then you take my entire family away from me for eternity, and now you undo what your own brother wished for and take away my own arm from me too. Why don't you damn angels just accept your punishment and die already?" And with just one arm still leaking a trail of blood, Vegito rushes in at the two angels, angrier than ever, but unfortunately weaker too than ever after training for a year non-stop in the GT timeline, surviving a Planetary Hakai and Hakaiing Lord Sidra, all without a second of rest. And ultimately the two angels, in all their wisdom, know this too, smiling without a hint of fear in their heart as Vegito approaches, with Cusu thinking, "And here, the fool finally comes." Yeah! With Vegito beginning with an enraged punch that uncharacteristically misses under the exceptional movements of Cusu's Ultra Instinct, with the little girl commenting, "Too slow, God Killer." And as her confidence grows, a smirk comes across her lips as she continues, "I guess since you're missing an arm, I don't need to worry about a follow-up attack. I guess it's my turn now then." As suddenly, with alarming speed and power, Cusu swings her staff right at Vegito. For a moment, Vegito is left frozen. He wonders if he does anything to stop the staff, will it just slice through him again? "Not this time, you witch!" But ultimately, he brings his arm up at the last second, knowing as long as he isn't caught off guard and his arm is imbued with his ki, her staff will not cut through anything. But unfortunately, even with that block, there was nothing in the way now to defend himself on the other side as Cusu instinctively follows up with a kick that lands, sending Vegito flying as he thinks, damn it! I haven't got used to having one arm yet! I still think it's there when it's not! I can't fight like this! I need to! What? But before Vegito can even finish his thoughts, right behind him appears Mojito. He too gripping his angel staff with both hands until... Vegito is slammed on the back of his neck with a blow that would normally leave anyone paralyzed, as Vegito coughs out blood and momentarily loses consciousness, being sent now flying uncontrollably towards the depths of space. Sister, it's working just as you thought! Father would be proud. This mortal upstart doesn't even stand a chance! To which Cusu, with an even bigger smile, replies, hahaha, and only barely 10 minutes have passed, brother. We still have plenty of time to finish this, and have some fun with him too. As the two ferociously continue to chase after Vegito's vulnerable, flailing body, still not satisfied with the damage they've already inflicted on the Saiyan. Eventually though, Vegito manages to regain himself in the midst of space, staring into his impending fate as both angels rush in. In the brief seconds he has left, he continues to think to himself, no, this isn't how this was supposed to go. I've lost too much blood and energy. Surprise attack after surprise attack has drained all my energy just trying to survive. And with one arm, I don't have a hope in hell of defending myself to pull off a win. What is even going on here? We said their powers should have deactivated the minute the gods died. It happened with Korn. Why isn't it the same here? Something is wrong, but I don't know what. I need to get out of here and regroup. Hello, God Killer! Miss us? But time is cut short, as in a flash, both Mojito and Cusu appear before the Saiyan menacingly, smiling from ear to ear knowing just how helpless the once feared God Killer now is. As Mojito says, now be a good boy and let me chop off that other arm too. I wouldn't want you to use those remaining time rings, would we, Cusu? Solar Flare! But while the cocky angels take their time threatening the thought to be helpless Vegito, the few Saiyan unexpectedly takes a page from Tien Shinhan's book and unleashes an incredible bright light that blinds even the angels. No, Cusu! We took too long! As both Mojito and his sister close their eyes momentarily and cover them from the burning bright light, leaving Vegito finally some time to make his escape as he says to himself, got him! Enjoy seeing nothing but white lights, you freak! A little gift from one of your victims. His name was Tien. And just like that, Vegito rushes off, leaving the two angels in his dust, his arm still bleeding as he looks back knowing he can't even risk attacking them in this state. All he can do is run whether he likes it or not. Over there! And within seconds, Vegito plots course to a random planet below to find anywhere at all to hide or recover in some way. He still has some of the time rings left, but would he really escape without retrieving his arm to reattach? Eventually, Vegito arrives on the surface of the planet with a small thud, and for just a brief moment, he looks around to survey his surroundings, thinking, what? This planet literally has no life force at all! It's nothing but rocks! Barely anywhere to get some space! as Vegito then grunts as he continues to run frantically to find any sort of cover to hide from the hunting angels above, thinking to himself, "There's got to be something around here. How can this massive planet not have even a hint of life? It's basically a glorified moon." Finally, this will do for now. But eventually though, Vegito does find himself at the foot of a large cave entrance. Pitch black inside, he decides to enter with his godly energy signature completely untraceable. But once inside and calming down in the darkness, he begins to think on his next moves, still grabbing onto his bloody shoulder, trying to remain conscious. They should have recovered from that solar flare by now, but they'll never figure out I'm here. They probably think I escaped with the staff, or even my current time rings. But there's no way in hell I'm leaving without that arm. Each of those rings provides instant access to another timeline. And on top of that, if I get that arm soon enough, I'll still be able to reattach it. Oh, we know exactly how important that arm is to you, demon! But suddenly, Vegito's calm thoughts are interrupted by a pair of familiar voices creepily yelling at him in tandem. Vegito slowly turns his head into the darkness, seeing nothing at first as he comments, "What the? Who's there? No, it couldn't be!" And in a scene straight out of a horror flick, two pairs of demonic looking eyes with two creepy grins to match suddenly appear from within the darkness. Through whatever means, the angels have found Vegito, and there is no way to escape. So our story continues with Ultra Vegito standing in fear, still only with one arm leaking blood even as we speak, and behind him the same dual angels who have just inexplicably hunted him down even in the darkest of caves. But soon the fear and panic of Vegito's face switches back to anger and annoyance at the situation as he thinks to himself, "I was kidding myself if I thought I could outrun two angels. Each of their staffs can probably tell where I am at any given moment. I can't lie, this is bad. With my energy this low, coupled with the blood loss, I'm completely outmatched. There's only one way out of this." And having thought this, to our surprise as an audience, within Vegito's last remaining arm, a shining ball of energy begins to form in the palm of his hand. And just like that, Vegito suddenly throws a noticeably unimpressive beam of energy seemingly straight at the angels. But surely, this couldn't be what he meant as a way out. Similarly, the petite angel Cusu watches on with a truly conceited smirk as she stares at the oncoming beam and comments, "Well, Mojito, would you look at that? How far the mighty have fallen. Does he really think that level of attack will do anything to us? How pointless." "Sister, what did..." But to the shock of both the angel and us, the beam suddenly shifts directions mid-flight, shooting instead straight into the air, missing the confused angels by mere inches. At first, Cusu remains suspicious, commenting, "That's sly Saiyan. Mojito, stay on guard. He's probably planning to attack us from the front now." But unexpectedly, the beam hits the ceiling of the cave with impact, instantly breaking apart the very foundations of what held the cave together. What the? No! Mojito, move! But in the darkness of the cave, the entire structure then begins to collapse on top of the divine creatures, as Vegito shoots out at the last second with speed, his two fingers now placed on his forehead, ready to do only one thing, as he thinks, "Got him! That should slow them down just enough for me to get my arm back and leave this damn universe. I just need to remember where that arm was. There should still be some energy traces left over there." Now, as his body begins to vanish, Vegito yells out, "Got it! It's still over there! Thank God those damn angels left it alone!" And just like that, Ultra Vegito appears instantly back in the emptiness of space, now right next to his severed arm, yelling out, "There you are, little buddy! Give me those rings!" As Vegito reaches towards them, a smile appears across the Saiyan's face as he realizes, "Without any oxygen in space, my arm is still in perfect condition. All I have to do is get this to someone fast and I can reattach it in no time." But suddenly, in the classic style of Vegito's turmoil-filled life, he suddenly notices something behind him. Something not animate, but dangerous nevertheless. What? And to his and our shock, right below Vegito, as if following him, is a massive beam of energy, enough to vaporize anyone. There's barely any time though, as the key beam becomes so close it is now near undodgeable in Vegito's current state, as his entire body soon now becomes engulfed in the light, only leaving him to mutter helplessly, "No! Where is this coming from?" And just like that, Vegito is completely trapped as the blast covers his entire body. Not exploding, but instead shooting past him as if Vegito wasn't even the primary target. As the beam eventually leaves the vicinity into the depths of space, Vegito slowly moves his arm from covering his face. He's now slightly more damaged than before, but hardly near death, as expected, as he comments, "It's over. That was all? Maybe I've overestimated these damn angels. They might have been weakened just as much as I have after all this time. That attack was pathetic. But regardless, I'm still getting my arm first and..." No! No! But soon, the real aim of that blast is revealed, as not even a trace of Vegito's severed arm remains, now having been completely reduced to nothing but dust, including the many rings that were on them too. "How dare you! Who did this?" Immediately causing the few Saiyan to roar in unkempt rage, his plans and hopes to regain his limb now completely shattered, and because of a stray energy blast. But soon, some common sense comes back to Vegito as he looks down at the planet below, realizing it's the exact direction the beam came from. For a moment, he thinks in his mind silently, It couldn't be the angels. They couldn't have freed themselves so fast. There's nothing down there. What on earth could have done this?" But as Vegito looks down and the scene begins to zoom in, his worst fears are brought to light as from the surface of the planet, exactly where the beam had come from, lay two familiar figures. Two figures who only bring back fury into Vegito's heart, knowing the gods had robbed him once more of his happiness as he grumbles internally, You damn angels! I may have lost my arm, but I promise you will lose everything in return, no matter what depths I have to fall. But standing tall on the surface of the planet, just to confirm Vegito's eyesight, is Mojito with a smirk and his arm outreached, and his palm still smoking from where he had just been the one to blast that earlier key beam. As the equally smiling Cusu comments next to him, "Nice shot, brother. You haven't lost your touch at all. Just look at his face. The fool should know by now. He's not going anywhere as long as we're around. Wherever he goes, wherever he hides, he will never stand a chance against us. Let alone father, with him being a cripple now. Poor mortal." While Mojito adds on, "Haha, it's true. This Vegito's power was overwhelming before, but with the energy he's wasted so far, and with just one arm, he's back to being nothing more than a Universe 7 lowlife. It's a shame we had to destroy a time ring, but robbing this demon of one of his limbs is priceless." Cusu, though, being the older sister and wiser, then responds cautiously, but still with a smile, "Haha, it may be true he's significantly weaker now, but don't let your guard down, Mojito. You know he's been holding back, right? This form he's been using against you is not what he used against Lord Rumchi and the Supreme Kais. I watched it all go down on my staff. He'll be down here soon to face us at his full power, I'm sure of it. We can just wait here. He won't run, not now that we've hurt his fragile ego." Huh? Which immediately piques Mojito's concern as he softly queries back, This isn't his final form? What has he been hiding?" "Then so be it! I don't even need a second arm to destroy you, brats!" As instantly, just as Cusu had worried, Ultra Vegito finally decides enough is enough and powers up to his Ultra form, combining Goku's mastered Ultra Instinct and Vegeta's perfected Ultra Ego, losing his eyebrows, gaining dark purple hair down the sides of his locks, and now dark black flames that burst forth from his body. And now from above, looking down on the planet ironically like a god himself, he opens his palm towards the planet and thinks, "It hurts me deeply to do what a god of destruction does, especially emulating exactly what Sidra did to me. But this is the only fitting way to end this. The perfect, ironic ending for two pathetic angels who think they know my every move." And with a commanding look and voice, he then shouts down, "I hope you damn angels are enjoying it down there, because you will not be leaving. You took everything from me and now found a way to take even more. Well played, but the winner here will always be me!" As from the depths of space, way above the mystery planet, Ultra Vegito instantly powers up a humongous ball of Hakai energy that begins to dwarf even his own body, and can be used only to perform one action. "What? Mojito, up there!" Which ultimately strikes fear even into the once confident Cusu, as she realizes what this looks like and comments, He wouldn't. Is he planning to erase this entire planet and every mortal on it just to get rid of us? Surely not, Mojito. But Mojito, who knows Vegito's motives well, remains completely calm and informs his sister, "It's a bluff, Cusu. This mortal just screamed and yelled at Lord Sidra for erasing Basil's planet just to get him. His very goal is to punish us gods forever ruling and choosing which mortals live and die in our universes. So I can assure you, there isn't even a chance he would do the same for the sake of us. That is, of course, unless he wants to become the very thing he hates. It's an impossibility. Just look around. All this life... Huh? Wait. But suddenly, something dawns on Mojito as he looks around side to side on the planet and finally notices the very first observation made when Vegito landed on this planet. There is no life force on this chunk of rock. Nothing but empty landscape. Cusu! I may have made a mistake here! While the equally paralyzed in fear sister mumbles back, "No, don't tell me! Don't tell me he planned this! Did he lure us here, or did we force him down here? Mojito! Who is this mortal?" "I am the God Killer. Kai!" And with the most ferocious yell Ultra Vegito has ever given in history, he screams with a one-handed Hakai that looks almost like a throwback to Team Gohan's one-handed Kamehameha. Just so that on the surface, the massive Hakai reaches instantly to the feet of Cusu and Mojito. So fast that Ultra Instinct or not, there was no dodging or escaping this one, as the destructive energy rips through the entire landscape, making the two angels now appear like mere ants before it. In a fruitless effort, Mojito turns his back to attempt to fly off at full speed, yelling, "Cusu, run! We have to make it off here now!" But the wise young girl knows only to reply, "No, it's over, dear brother." As just like that, as if frozen in time, a testament to just how fast Ultra Vegito performed his planetary level Hakai, both Cusu and Mojito returned to dust, erased forever and never to be seen again. Brother and sister, just two more gods to fall to Ultra Vegito's wrath. And for a moment, the once peaceful but empty planet remains whole, until suddenly, just like that, it too completely vanishes from the universe along with its only two inhabitants. And as the debris and dust of the planet floats off into the never-ending abyss of space, Ultra Vegito stands above, watching coldly as he comments, That was embarrassing! How could two lowly angels like that cause me this many problems? I don't care I haven't rested since training that year with Gogeta. They took my damn arm! I have no control over Whis' staff to be able to heal myself. When these things happen, I'm on my own. Now what the hell do I do? And without saying a word more of his plan, if any, he uses his remaining time rings with the last of his power and reaches out his hand yelling, "Take me back to Universe 7! Then opening a massive portal once again to another random timeline, at least assured to be in his own universe. Could this be back to Gogeta to check on what happened with Beerus and Whis, or something else? Even Ultra Vegito couldn't know. And soon enough, we see just the last part of Vegito's leg as he enters into the unknown. And on the other side, Ultra Vegito finally leaves the portal, confused as normal as he seems to enter unfamiliar territory. He's within a cave, but there are remnants of technology all around him. As he looks around, he thinks to himself, "What is this? These time rings must have malfunctioned. I said Universe 7, but this looks nothing like what I'm used to. Is this some kind of far future?" But soon we see a look from the outside. The surroundings sure do look like Earth. But interestingly, the cave Vegito is in also seems familiar to any OG Dragon Ball Z fans. I need to get away from those fools. I need 17 and 18. As shockingly, we then see a damaged Dr. Gero, aka Android 20, running frantically towards a large metal door. Soon he reaches it and looks up saying, "Ah, finally it's here, my lab." Before then punching in a complex and encrypted code into the door reader, which automatically then finally opens the laboratory door wide open as he yells, "Here we go! I'm almost there! I win this time, Goku!" As the elderly android then enters excitedly into his lab and immediately begins to think on his next steps, saying, "Right, they shouldn't be able to find my lab for a while. As long as I remain quiet, I can make the necessary adjustments to activate 17 and 18. They will be more than enough. No need to activate 16 just yet. He is still completely untested. His power could prove too strong to control anyway. All I need to do first is..." What? Who goes there? But suddenly, as Dr. Gero thinks, the heightened senses of the android suddenly detect the slight movements of someone nearby. As shockingly, Dr. Gero then turns around and sees none other than Ultra Vegito, standing facing him unflinchingly, still leaking blood onto the floor as Gero yells, "What is the meaning of this? Who are you?" While Ultra Vegito remains deathly silent, at least for now. So our story continues with Dr. Gero having just entered his lab in the hopes of activating 17 and 18 to defeat the Z Fighters, but only to find shockingly Ultra Vegito standing there, who of course is a complete stranger to the esteemed scientist. But with a shocked face, Vegito suddenly begins to realize who it is he is looking at and yells out, "Wait a minute! I know you! Dr. Gero! Is that you? Where am I?" To which Dr. Gero reacts, "What? And he too knows who I am? How does every one of Goku's friends and this complete stranger know of my existence just by appearance alone? This makes no sense. Wait!" But suddenly, in Dr. Gero's rush to try and rationalize what is happening and who this is, he thinks, "No, that hair, is this a Saiyan? It's not Vegeta. Could this be Raditz or Nappa? My data should have all the information needed if that's the case. But that still wouldn't explain how he's in my lab. Computer, show me who this is." Instantly activating the electronics built into his left eye, the same technology Android 19 originally used to detect Yamcha. But unfortunately, as the machine reads Ultra Vegito's face and body under a red hue, nothing at all seems to come up, not even a trace of history. Which isn't surprising, considering at this point in the Dragon Ball Z timeline, Vegeta and Goku had never heard of the Potara earrings or even considered fusion. Leaving Dr. Gero to mutter, "Damn it! How can this be? He's not in any of the data records, not even the backups. I prepared for this day for too long. I can't let this intruder ruin 17 and 18's launch." And with that, Dr. Gero quickly looks to his right, instantly seeing 17 and 18's idle chambers, right next to the open casket of the late 19. As Dr. Gero thinks, still not giving away anything, "There's no more time to set any readjustments or calibrations. I have to just hope my previous work still stands the test of time. I need to release them now. But annoyance soon comes back to Dr. Giraud's face as he realizes the rushed and dangerous predicament he unexpectedly is now in. Grumbling, "This is ridiculous. First Piccolo, Vegeta, and the others instantly know of us androids and the exact time and location of our arrival. And now, in my very own lab, an unknown subject appears. This is far too many unexpected variables." But in a flash, Dr. Giraud begins moving at super speed, in his head thinking he has got some head start as he thinks, "Whoever this is, he didn't destroy 17 or 18. There's no reason to think he's strong. As long as I get to my creations in time, everything will go as planned." And just like that, faster than you ever seen an old man move, Dr. Giraud taps quickly the buttons for Android 18 and then swiftly Android 17, letting out, Yes, I did it! It's done!" As slowly, Android 18's capsule begins to open, and Android 17's follows with his eyes opening for the first time in years. Those are... And suddenly, even to Vegito, memories begin to come back, with Android 17 and 18 being far more familiar to him than Dr. Giraud, having fought alongside 17 in the Tournament of Power and 18 being the now wife of the late Krillin. He sees them and thinks, "No way! This moment! This is the moment Android 17 and 18 were activated! So that means outside are..." But as Vegito thinks, 17 walks out commenting, "Wow, it's been a while, Doctor. Thank you for waking me." As 18 also steps forward and concurs, "Yes, Doctor, it's such a pleasure to see you again. I see you two have joined us in becoming an android." What? Dr. Giraud, hearing this cordiality and politeness, is left in a state of brief disbelief. Since the last time they were ever activated, he needed to immediately deactivate them for their rebelling nature, and replies, "Amazing! Did I just hear you thank me? The personality reprogramming must have completed after all. This is just how I envisioned you to finally be. My two greatest creations. 17 and 18! As the two twin androids now stand together, silent and coldly, reminiscent of the deadly, unbelievably powerful killers they once were. Before 17 replies, "Of course, Doctor. You created us after all. I would never doubt your genius to produce perfection. Isn't that right, 18? To which Android 18 just blankly adds, "Yes, 17. How could we ever pay our dear creator for giving us life?" The fakeness in their voices, however, is obvious to any of us OG Dragon Ball Z fans, as 18 ups it a gear, femininely beginning to touch her hair, thinking on the inside, "This old freak has gone and made himself an android. But it seems he skimped on giving himself the kind of technology 17 and I have. What a foolish mistake. Now all we have to do is get rid of him, and we will never need to be put to sleep again." 18, with now an inviting smile, then approaches closer to Dr. Giraud, with the doctor asking, "What is it, 18? Is there something wrong with your programming?" To which 18 replies, "No, everything is fine, Doctor. I feel better than ever. We just want to know what our first mission for you is. You want us to kill Son Goku, don't you? We can do that, right, 17? To which her brother, with a more sinister smirk, lets out, "That will be no problem, Doctor. We know from our databanks for how long that Saiyan has troubled you, destroying your army and foiling your plans countless times. But with these upgrades you've given us, it'll be no problem. My calculations suggest we're at least 50 to 60 times." My arm! But suddenly interrupting 17 and 18 from the shadows of the dark cave is Ultra Vegito, who has been standing there this entire time but seemingly undetected by the androids, as he uncontrollably yells out due to his still raw injury. In a gruesome display, the very veins of Vegito's stump begin to bulge as blood spurts out, and as he looks at it, he can only think, "Damn it! I was hoping to have arrived back in a timeline that was in peace, closer to Bulma, so I could find the Dragon Balls. What a drag. This is just wasting my time. Wait!" But suddenly, a thought pops into Ultra Vegito's mind. He realizes where he is and what exactly can be done. As he continues, Dr. Gero! I'm in the presence of a doctor and complaining about a severed arm? How can I be so stupid? There's no telling what I can get this old geezer to do for me. To this day, no one has even come close to making beings as advanced as 17 or 18. 17 even won the Tournament of Power! Huh? Who the hell is that? But Vegito's initial outburst does not go unnoticed by the now aware androids, as 17 continues, Doctor, this man does not appear in any of my data records. Is he one of Goku's friends? 18, any luck on your end? To which 18 also looks at Vegito and replies, no, not even a trace in my records. His eyes aren't too different to ours. Could he be another android, Doctor? We thought you stopped after 19's model. I could be an android! But suddenly, after hearing Android 18's assumption, an even greater idea than before comes to Vegito as he continues, of course, 17 and 18 began as humans. Dr. Gero is the one who modified them into what they are now. So Dr. Gero could make me a new arm! An arm like 17's. One that gave me infinite energy! But as Vegito introspectively gets extremely excited by the possibilities of what Dr. Gero could possibly add to his arsenal, the Doctor, meanwhile, hearing what his creations have said, instead responds, no, he is not one of my creations, 18. He's either a human or a Saiyan. But regardless, he should be no match for either of you. Your first task is to annihilate him, quickly and silently. I don't want to alarm the rest of Goku's friends who are looking for me outside. Dr. Gero then looks to Android 17 and continues, 17, I programmed you as the more powerful of the two of you. It may be overkill, but handle our enemy over here now, and when you're done, you and 18 can finish the rest of the Earthlings outside. Which brings a smirk to 17's face as he lets back out, certainly, Doctor. Whatever you wish is my command. I'll do it just as you said, quickly and quietly. I will get rid of our enemy. As curiously, 17 as he says this, then changes his sight to Dr. Gero, moving behind him, also in a very familiar scene to us fans, as Dr. Gero reacts, huh? What are you doing, 17? He's over there. I command you, follow your orders and execute your target. To which Android 17 says, gladly, old man, it's your turn to be put to sleep. As just like in the original Dragon Ball Z timeline, Android 17 launches a kick meant to assassinate his creator, Dr. Gero. What? But unbelievably, changing the entire course of history once again, Ultra Vegito appears in the nick of time to block Android 17's kick, shocking all involved, with Dr. Gero commenting, 17? What were you trying to do? Were you trying to kill me, you brat? I gave life to you! While 17, who's more alarmed at just how easily he was stopped, inquires, what? 18, Who is this guy? There's no way anyone on this planet should be able to stop me so easily. That felt like hitting an immovable object. While looking coldly down at the teen android with a deathly stare, Vegito says, "Not today, Tin Can. As much as I'm a fan of rebelling against authority, you'll do nothing until I'm done with him first. Got it?" After which, Ultra Vegito turns his head to Dr. Gero and shockingly lets out, "You! Listen carefully and listen good. I need a new arm. And you're going to make me one. You're going to make me a damn android!" Huh? What? Make him an android? What the hell is going on here? As all three cyborgs lay completely shell-shocked and surprised by the seriously unexpected request. Just what will Ultra Vegito hope to gain by this new cybernetic arm in his arsenal? So our story continues with Ultra Vegito having just defended Dr. Gero from Android 17's kick, which in the original timeline was meant to kill him, leaving not only Dr. Gero but 17 and 18 completely shocked on top of the Saiyan's strange request to now become an android himself, with the Doctor immediately reacting, Make you an arm? You must have lost your mind. Who the hell do you think you are to demand that of me? I still don't know who you even are, or how you got into my secret lab before even me." But in a comedic turn of events, Ultra Vegito points forward his gruesome severed stump of an arm and replies, "Well, old man, first off, unless you want me to cover this whole lab in my blood, I'd suggest you start doing something about this injury of mine. But secondly, I am the guy who just saved your head from being kicked off soccer style to the next dimension. So I don't know, but I'd say you owe me a favor now." And hearing the surprisingly sound argument, Dr. Gero immediately turns his head to 17, remembering the turn of events that just happened, reacting in anger, That's true! You ungrateful traitor! It seems you're in need of far more recalibrations. The personality adjustments have made you even worse. In fact, perhaps you need to be put to sleep as a scrapped project altogether. Immediately, of course, alarming 17, who knows too well the horror of being left to remain idle in the capsule he came out of, but of course, knowing how powerless he is now that Dr. Gero has this unexpected bodyguard. Turning around to his last remaining creation that hasn't turned on him, Dr. Gero naively calls out to Krillin's future wife, 18! Come here at once. For whatever reason, only you are functioning as intended. Restrain your brother at once while I find the deactivation remote. Turning his eyes to watch 17 closely, he continues, It seems he can no longer be allowed to roam around, now that he poses a danger to both you and I. Though he was programmed to be stronger than you, it is more in techniques and ability than physicality. And following this, Dr. Gero rummages through his pockets, exclaiming, Now, where are you? I know it was in this pocket. Ah, there you are. As suddenly Dr. Gero pulls out finally the deactivation remote that with a press of a button can disable both 17 and 18 whenever the Doctor desired. Huh? Wait, no! What? Not that damn remote again! As both 17 and 18 are left stunned in shock, clearly paralyzed by just the sight of the one device that renders them in all their strength absolutely helpless, giving their Dr. Gero ultimate power over them. But trying to keep her calm as well as the act that she's performing just as Dr. Gero had intended, Android 18 once again ups her feminine charm, touching her hair and replying, "I see. I guess number 17 never was up to scratch, was he? I'll gladly help you deactivate him, Doctor. 17 is clearly in need of some more tuning. But please, go easy on him." After which 18, inexplicably, just like her brother before her, begins walking behind the Doctor, as a paranoid Gero yells, "18? Now what the hell are you doing? 17 is over there. Don't tell me you two have malfunctioned. Do as you're commanded at once, or I will shut you down too." To which 18, keeping her cool, just softly replies, "Oh, sorry, Doctor. I thought you meant you wanted me to back you up. Sure, I'll handle this myself." Just like this. "What? 18, what are you doing?" As instantly, just like in the original timeline, Android 18 swiftly disarms Dr. Gero of his remote with one fell swoop. "No! The remote! Give that back now!" Leaving Dr. Gero to react in horror, as not one, but both of his prized creations instantly rebel against him, fooling him at every turn, and now in possession of the one failsafe he had in place to retain control of them and their exceptional strength. Meanwhile, leaving Ultra Vegito to just sigh in complete disappointment, seeing a one-to-one repeat of events even after saving his life just moments earlier, commenting, "This is absolutely tragic. Weren't you supposed to be one of the greatest minds on Earth? Even smarter than Bulma's father? How do you let two toasters outsmart you, and in literally the same exact way? Pathetic." But Android 18, now in possession of the key to freeing both her and her brother finally, forms a massive grin on her face as she says, "On second thought, I think 17 is working just fine. So I'll be taking this, Doctor. With your old age, I don't think you should be handling such advanced technology. In fact, I think you may have lived long enough. It's time we put you to sleep." But suddenly, a rush of anger and annoyance rushes to Vegito, as he grabs his head as if trying to control his rage as he thinks, "Is he really going to make me save him again? What a pathetic excuse for a creator. Can't even keep control of his own puppets. I guess that makes him no different to the gods. Only difference is, I will actually succeed in eliminating them. Regardless, I'm not letting that damn android ruin my chance of becoming whole again. Krillin's woman or not, I never even liked her in the first place. Probably about time I paid her back for what she did to Vegeta's arm." And instantly, without a word more, Ultra Vegito appears right next to 18, grabbing her remote-holding wrist tightly, to the immediate confusion of 18, who up to this point viewed him as no threat, as she turns her head and yells, "Hey, get the hell off me! Who even are you? If you wanted to die too, you only had to ask. 17, deal with him!" Hakai! But before anything else can be said, or indeed her brother 17 can come to her rescue, Ultra Vegito yells the one word that to this point had never been uttered in the Dragon Ball Z series. What? Confusing the female android more than anything, as she, just as expected, begins to erase, turning to dust before the eyes of not only her creator, but her twin brother 17 also, the future Z-Fighter slowly losing her place in existence forever. Until ultimately, nothing is left, and Ultra Vegito is seen grabbing onto nothing but air, heartlessly letting out, "Well, there goes one more to the realm of nothingness. But I guess being an android, you had no afterlife anyway. Maybe now Krillin can start dating someone more in his league." No! 18! What did you do to her? What did you do to my sister? As immediately in terror, Android 17 steps back with wide eyes, completely unable to even comprehend what he's just seen. No data in the world could even hope to explain how his powerfully built sister had just vanished into thin air on the command of a stranger. What? Android 18! And the remote too! What did he do to her? I can't sense any trace of her in the surrounding area. This man, just what is he? What was that? And most surprisingly, as if linked by fate, Krillin somehow too notices that something significant has happened. As if by hearing the noise of the android's reaction or sensing somehow the erasure of his once destined wife. Suddenly, he calls out, "Guys! I think I heard something! Right over there, near that cave!" Instantly alerting the rest of the Z-Fighters to the location of Dr. Giroux's lab, finally. Krillin? Krillin! As each of the 4 remaining Z-Fighters on the battlefield suddenly turn around to the sound of Krillin's voice, each surprised that Krillin, of all people, would be the first to detect Dr. Giroux's whereabouts. Finally! You better not be wasting our time, Baldy! I want those tin cans to witness my legendary power now! Lead the way! And just like that, all 4 Z-Fighters then fly off immediately towards Krillin's location, with Piccolo yelling, "Brace yourself, guys. We've been looking for a while. We might be too late to have stopped the androids activating. Stay on guard." To which Vegeta cockily responds, "Speak for yourself, Green Man. I don't need to fear anything." While Trunks indiscriminately responds, "No, we have to have made it in time. We have to." And eventually, just as Krillin had indicated, the 5 Z-Fighters find the mountain the laboratory is located within. And before long, enter the cave and find themselves at the foot of the steel doors, which understandably can't be entered without a code. As Krillin comments, "In there, guys. I'm sure I heard a couple voices. It's shut tight though. Do we just wait for them to come out or what?" While Trunks responds, "Wait, a couple of voices? That means Dr. Giroux isn't alone. That means he activated the androids. We're too late. We have to get out of here." But immediately, not caring for anything his son says, Vegeta rashly raises his palm towards the door and yells out, "Enough of your mindless chatter. If they're in there, then I'm coming in. Stand aside, fools, or be blown apart with it." What? Immediately shocking future Trunks, who yells wildly back at Vegeta in fear, knowing all too well the horrors of the android's power. "No! Stop! If the androids are already here, we need to run! If they see us, we're all dead! We need to wait for Goku!" Shut up with mentioning that clown! The Prince of Saiyans needs nobody's help! But in typical Vegeta fashion, Trunks using the G-word only unleashes his rage and temper, as he immediately blasts forward a key blast straight at the 2 doors. Vegeta, you fool! The collision, of course, causing mass collateral damage with everyone nearby, with even Piccolo having to cover himself from the beam's power. And just like that, to the surprise of all three inside, the doors of the laboratory fall to the ground, crumple. And for the first time, the Z Fighters lay their sights on not only Android 17, but also Ultra Vegito, with number 17 looking back thinking, huh? Are these Goku's friends? As Dr. Gero, now in an even more shell-shocked state by the sudden intrusion, yells, "What? How did they find my lab so quickly?" And finally, Vegito, knowing this would eventually happen, but still nonetheless unimpressed, thinks, ugh, just as I kill one cockroach, a million others just crawl out from underneath her. I don't think I can bear to be dealing with this lot right now. Not after all this time. This is a nightmare. All my plans ruined. Both androids rebelled again. 18 is missing. This man who inexplicably overpowers us all. And now, even these damn fools have found me. Is this really the end? My dear Cell, you're my only hope. Oi! But Vegito, sensing the feeling of desperation the Doctor is now under, uncharacteristically then offers some words of comfort, even if only for his own benefit, as he says, "Listen, old man, I think you know as well as I do, the jig is up. Whatever way you look at it, you're going to be killed by someone. Either by your little android over there, or Vegeta and his guys out there. Maybe even Piccolo will be the one to finish you after ripping off your hand. But in this room, know this. 2 beings tried to kill you, and I stopped both of them. Whatever way you cut it, I'm the only person on your side right now, whether you know who I am or not. So are you going to follow my wishes and survive, or do I leave you to the wolves?" Leaving Dr. Gero near silent as he tries to compute what to do, before a more sinister look comes to Vegito as he reveals one final addition saying, "Promise to fix me a strong, indestructible arm with certain upgrades that I see fit, and I'll handle all of those punks outside for you. I'll even throw in making that pretty looking android over there disappear too." "What? Make me disappear?" Which instantly strikes fear into the body of Android 17 as he steps back once more, knowing how easily he could vanish from existence just as his sister mysteriously did. And meanwhile, Dr. Gero, with a cold face, knowing he truly has no choice but to agree, finally concedes and lets out, Fine, I accept. Just deal with this all. I need to live. I don't care how you do it." Causing a massive grin to appear on Vegito's face as he responds smugly, "Perfect. I knew you'd see it my way, old man. I guess you are a smart guy after all." And with that all said, Vegito then casually begins walking out towards the standing patiently Z Fighters, only at first appearing as a dark silhouette, as Piccolo yells out, "Hey, someone's coming! Get ready! Trunks, is that one of the androids you told us about? The teenage boy?" But eventually, as Vegito finally comes out into full view in the sunlight, brushing his hand through his hair, he says quietly, "Well, hello, my old friends. Or should I say, young?" "What?" As instantly Trunks reacts in complete shock, letting out to everyone, That isn't one of the androids, guys! That isn't 17 or 18! Who the hell is he?" So our story continues with Ultra Vegito having just left Dr. Gero's lab to confront the Z-Fighters outside. Not a single one of them has ever laid their eyes on Vegito before, let alone the mysterious Ultra form he was now in, as each Z-Fighter, from Krillin to Tien, Piccolo, Vegeta and even future Trunks, share a mixture of shock, fear and curiosity as the fused warrior walks towards them. Vegeta, though of course being the most confident and brazen of the bunch, begins first with an uneasy face saying, This is the android that Punk warned us about? First that obese circus clown I blew up, and now this? What even is he supposed to be? What bizarre hair! And where are his eyebrows? Didn't that kid say the android was supposed to be a teenager? But Ultra Vegito on the other end, looking at one half of himself, hears this and immediately thinks, typical Vegeta, jumping to conclusions. So this is how it's going to go. I guess since they saw me come out of Dr. Giro's lab, it's only right they assume I'm an android too. My best play here is probably to just go with it. But Krillin, who is also somewhat confused over this mystery man's appearance, comments, Yeah, Vegeta's right. This is supposed to be the android Trunks. He's nothing like you described. And wait! He's already missing an arm! And it's bleeding? I don't know, guys. That's a little lifelike, don't you think? Haha. Nervously laughing as he points out something clearly very valid. Huh? Krillin, you're right! And soon, Trunks, who stands nearby, also realizes too that this android was indeed missing its whole arm, thinking to himself, what's going on here? None of the androids I've seen so far are the ones from my timeline. They look so different, especially this guy. Did my arrival here change things that much already? Meanwhile though, Ultra Vegito, who obliviously doesn't realize the concerns of everyone around him, begins, Very well assessed, Prince Vegeta. I should have known from my data stores, with your combat intelligence, you would easily figure things out. Yes, I am indeed an... He's not an android! But before Vegito can say any more, a highly flustered future Trunks yells out to everyone to blow Vegito's cover instantly, continuing, Krillin's right! Not only is he nothing like the androids from my timeline, but that bleeding arm is a dead giveaway, guys! Don't trust him! What? This is still not the androids? What? Who is this guy then? As soon, now all four of the Z-Fighters react in astonishment that someone would actually lie and pretend to be an android, but for what reason? Trunks though continues, On the way here, I saw what happened to that first android you guys fought. It was just a head rolling around, but there was no blood. These are androids, not cyborgs. They've lost pretty much all of their humanity. Whoever this guy is, he can't be the same. That fat blob you saw was my victim, kid. And now that you mention it, before I destroyed the rest of his body, I ripped his hands off too. It definitely didn't look anything like this imposter's missing arm. Just a bunch of wires with oil spitting out. And that just means... This fool is playing with us! And just like that, filled with anger and annoyance that he's being made a fool of by whoever this is in front of him, Vegeta powers up to his newly acquired Super Saiyan form that he's been dying to show off once again. With a raise of his arm once again, the Super Saiyan Vegeta aims his palm right at Vegito and yells out, Listen you! You have about 5 seconds to tell us who you are before I send you and the rest of this lab to the next dimension. Talk now if you want to live! Unknowingly threatening not only technically his own self, but someone so far beyond him in power he could hardly comprehend it. Vegito, hearing all this, immediately shifts his expression to serious, now no longer smirking as he realizes things are already falling apart. He never anticipated that his injury of all things would be what gave him away, nor how sharp future Trunks would be, as he thinks, "Damn it! Why can't things ever go easy for me? God knows I deserve it by now. Getting rid of 18 while she's still a villain is one thing, but I can't bring myself to get rid of these lots. I need to convince them I'm on their team somehow, and that the androids are no longer a threat." And so Vegito, for a moment, stares at the group of Z-Fighters, silently pondering just what his options are, before letting out, "Alright, you got me. I'll talk. Just give me a second." And suddenly, before everyone, Ultra Vegito's body begins to vanish. But where is he going? The coward! He ran away! These damn androids have no backbone at all! Why did you even make us train for 3 years? For these jokes? Causing Vegeta, of course, to gain even more cocky confidence, as yet another android would rather run than face his power. But instantly, Vegito returns back to the same exact spot, except now with a friend. Inexplicably bringing now Android 17, who seemingly has been taken by complete surprise and so fast he barely had a chance to react. What? That's Android 17! So, he is still in this timeline! But the traumatized Trunks, on finally seeing the monster that slaughtered his master Gohan, instantly reacts in shock and horror at seeing one of the androids he warned everyone about finally. Ultra Vegito, meanwhile, now back with a smirk, grabs onto 17 tightly by the wrist, just like he did with 18, as he says quietly, "Ready to join your sister, brat?" What? Get off me! I'll destroy you for what you did to 18! I'm warning you! Causing the young android to yell back in a mixture of anger for his sister's disappearance and an unconvincing bluffing, knowing inside there's not a thing he can do to this man. What? 17's powering up! This is bad! Guys! We need to get out of here! If that android starts attacking us, we're all dead! You all died in this battle in the future! What? The scary claims from the young Saiyan, of course, immediately striking fear into the bodies of Tien, Piccolo and Krillin, who stay still, contemplating whether escaping is really what they should do right now. Maybe waiting for Goku, as Trunks said, truly is the best decision to make. Wait! Don't you dare move a muscle until I say so! But suddenly, in a cold, demanding voice that paralyzes everyone into listening, Ultra Vegito, with a demonic look from behind 17, continues, "This android right here is not who you need to be fearing right now. Trunks, you know this one has a twin sister, right? Well, I already destroyed her, and I could easily do the same to this weakling too." How does he know my name? There's no way. Not unless... Immediately at first, causing Trunks to wonder in shock how this complete stranger could know who he is, given he's from a completely different timeline. Before he continues, "What? What do you mean? You destroyed 18 all by yourself? I don't believe it. No one could beat these guys all alone." You don't believe me, huh? Then watch me. Wait, what? Immediately, then with just one arm, pulling and contorting Android 17's body like a weightless ragdoll, as the helpless android yells fruitlessly until... Just like a mere stone off the ground, Ultra Vegito tosses Android 17 shockingly and effortlessly through the air. With such power and intensity, the android can do nothing but go straight with it. Immediately causing every single Z-fighter to turn their heads in complete shock, as they watch the crazy strong android they'd been told about and prepared 3 entire years for just get tossed out of the entrance of the cave like a shooting star. But the grinning with confidence Vegito, now knowing he has their attention, finally lets out, "Keep your eye on the birdie, kids. It's time you learned whose side I'm on." And just like that, immediately following his throw, Vegito goes for the finish and blasts off a powerful ki blast straight from his palm. What? No! As Android 17 continues to shoot off through the air, forced to watch as his inevitable death then flies after him in pursuit. The beam gets closer and closer as 17 tries his best to struggle and escape his motion, grunting, "It can't end like this! I don't want to sleep again!" But before long, the end of Android 17 finally reaches him as his face becomes completely engulfed in the light of the beam, and for a moment, even his cries are completely drowned out. And in one massive explosion, Android 17 is hit directly just as expected, as a bright light from the explosion causes every one of the Z-fighters to cover themselves from the debris and shockwave of the impact. But in the midst of the destruction, the result is clear, as Android 17, though not erased like his sister, is reduced back to pieces of scrap metal, as his entire body breaks apart before everyone. But in the end, once the dust settles, all the Z-fighters are left in utter shock and awe, with a hint of disbelief, as they slowly realize the power they just felt and saw is unlike anything they'd ever witnessed before, and ultimately unlike anything they'd witnessed for years to come, as Vegito comments, What power?" And Piccolo says, "Unbelievable. We're out of our depth. No amount of training could prepare us for that kind of strength. We need to get out of here." While Trunks just remains near silent, most likely from being unable to even comprehend 17's demise so easily before his eyes. Eventually though, as he steps back slowly with a sense of amazement, he mutters, He did it! Android 17 is gone! In one attack? Gohan, I wish you could have seen this! While Vegeta, now shifting his shock to envy and jealousy, becomes angered and thinks, "Just what the hell was that right now? Just when I gain a new level of power to surpass Kakarot, another freak comes out of the woodwork to blast me out of the water. First came that brat, and now this clown. That power is on a whole different level. What's going on here?" But Vegito, knowing that his job is done and there is no more need for these Z-fighters to doubt him or stick around, turns his back and lets out, "Suffice to say, I'm sure that was more than enough proof for you guys. Good job training for those 3 years, but the androids are all dead, and this battle is now over. Head back home and take care of Goku. Make sure he gets that antidote, and in about 7 years, a pink blob far stronger than any of these toasters will appear. So get a move on preparing for that, because if you bother me again, it won't end well for you. What? A threat stronger than the androids? And how does he know about Goku and the antidote? Something isn't right here. Leaving the wise Namekian to start piecing together just who and where this mysterious stranger must come from. So our story continues after Vegito had just met the Z-Fighters, having told them to leave the battlefield now that both the android menaces they just spent 3 years training for had been eradicated by Vegito himself. Before without warning, Ultra Vegito turns around, now surrounding himself in aura as he yells, I thought I told you punks to get moving, or do you need me to help you? What is he doing? This energy, it's rising! Is he turning on us? Which of course begins to alarm the not so cocky now Vegeta, who had just witnessed the power of the mystery figure. Slowly, in typical God-killer fashion, Vegito raises his hand, in the same way he would just before Hakkaiing his foes, until suddenly, in a throwback to Nappa, Vegito holds up 2 fingers whispering, Get lost! But unlike Nappa, the 2 fingers don't destroy the surrounding area, but instead coat the broken laboratory doors on the ground in the same aura that coated Vegito, and within seconds they levitate up from the ground and reach back up to the entrance of the cave until, with a loud and abrupt bang, the doors along with the crumbling surrounding rocks create a makeshift barrier to seal the entrance forevermore. What? Did he? Guess he wasn't kidding after all. As each of the Z-Fighters outside remain dumbfounded by the huge turn of events, basically now having been gatekept by an all-powerful figure from continuing any further with their quest, having to just take Vegito's word for it, the threat is now over, or challenge him and suffer brutal and guaranteed defeat. Finally, some peace and quiet. Ready for me, Doctor? Leaving Ultra Vegito with a pleased smile as finally his interaction with the rest of the Z-Fighters is now surely put to an end, and he can get down to business. But from the outside, the makeshift barrier soon then closes completely to be even tighter and stronger than ever before, as everyone else, including Vegeta, just remains stunned into quietness. The silence only being broken when Krillin exclaims, Hey! You guys aren't actually thinking of breaking that door down again, are you? Because he wasn't lying. Whoever he was, he did destroy that powerful android you warned us about. Right, Trunks? I don't think we should tempt fate here. And for a moment, Future Trunks, hearing this, stays silent, not knowing what to say, before finally replying, yeah, that was definitely Android 17. I couldn't forget that monster's face even if I tried. And now, he's gone. Him and his sister come as a pair. If 17's gone, I couldn't imagine his sister not doing something about it. So it must be as that guy said. He destroyed her too. But as Trunks says all this with a forlorn look as if still not satisfied, Tien Shinhan is quick to point out, well, what's the problem then? Listen, the way I see it, we trained all this time to defeat those 2 guys you warned us about. You warned us so that we could survive, and so they would be destroyed. Well, we're alive, including Goku, and those 2 are gone. We should be celebrating. I'm with Krillin. I say we don't push our luck and just leave that guy alone. But despite Tien's logic, Future Trunks still feels something is very off, as he continues, But this guy didn't exist in my timeline, Tien. And neither did that other android you fought, Android 19. I feel like my arrival here has changed a lot already in your timeline, but not in the ways me and my mother hoped. I can't be sure yet if this is good, or I have caused something even worse to happen instead. But you're probably right to leave this alone. He's not attacking us. At least if something does happen now down the line, we'll have Goku with us soon. Mother told me in uncertain times like this, he'd always come through. But with future Trunks obliviously pressing the Goku button again right in front of the prince, it finally makes Vegeta snap. Kakarot? You think Kakarot would make a damn difference here? These amateurs may not have just realized what they saw, but that thing in there is on a whole other level. He's like a god compared to us. What was the damn point of becoming a Super Saiyan? The legendary warrior my father told me of, if it was this easily outclassed. As soon, the utter rage and jealousy building in Vegeta becomes so palpable, it switches from the veins that bulge on his forehead to bursting forth from his body as a golden aura consumes him until... With a roar, he blasts his energy outwards, powering to what seems to be his max power level, screaming as he does so, "I will surpass my limits! This is not over!" Continuing his power up with no regard for anyone else as he gets everything off his chest. Trunks, Krillin, Tien and Piccolo all just covering themselves in shock, wondering what on earth the prince is doing. What the hell is your problem, Vegeta? Cool it before that guy comes back out! Shut it, Green Man. You and these weaklings can hide in fear all you want, but I will go get myself a new power. A power to surpass a Super Saiyan. And I'll destroy that clown for taking my kill. Instantly, in typical hard-headed Vegeta fashion, then flying off at speed into the distance in search of surpassing his limits once more. Father. Leaving future Trunks meanwhile to think on Vegeta's words and what they could mean. A power to surpass a Super Saiyan? What does he mean? Could there really be a form beyond what we have already? But Piccolo, who takes Trunks' confused look for wondering what that outburst was about, just explains, "Don't worry about him, Trunks. That's just Vegeta. His ego has been severely damaged by what he just witnessed. He's probably headed back to Capsule Corp to train right now. And he's not wrong too. We should all be continuing our training. If not for him, for any future threats that will come. We dodged a bullet today, but that's not to say we won't have tougher battles in the future." To which Trunks once again stays silent for a moment to think introspectively before letting out, "Yeah, you're probably right. In any scenario, we all need to get stronger. I just wish Father would just be a little less rash." And with that, all of the remaining Z fighters nod in agreement before shooting off into the sky, ultimately deciding to leave Ultra Vegito finally to his own devices. Meanwhile, back with Ultra Vegito, finally alone with the Doctor, he addresses him. "So, you heard me then, Jiro. When exactly are you going to get to work? I need a new arm, but not like that garbage you gave yourself in that Blob 19. I need what you gave 17. No, even stronger than that." But Jiro, hearing this, is far from impressed, instead actually incensed, still that he's being spoken to like a mere slave, as he thinks, "Who does he think he is? I'm no servant to be used as and when he wants. He should be my slave. a slave to my android abilities and infinite life. This man just destroyed my life's work in an instant, and now expects me to just work for him without question. And with his frustration bubbling over, for a moment, Dr. Gero loses sight of who he's talking to, and yells back, "How dare you speak to me like that? Do you have any idea who I am? I was revered around the world, paid millions to work when you were still in nappies. Yet you think I'll work for nothing in return? Tell me this. What will you do if I refuse? You've already destroyed everything I ever lived for. So why do you think I'd fear death by your hand?" But Vegito, who is completely unfazed by Gero's apparent bravery in the face of death threats, just replies calmly, "Well, if you didn't agree to make my arm, it's no problem really. I'd just find another way. Maybe visit Dr. Brief instead. But what I would do is of course first kill you, slowly and agonizingly, before then destroying that lunk of metal, Android 16 over there. And then finally, come for your precious baby, Cell. And I'd erase him from the face of the earth before he ever got to be born. Now how does that sound, Doctor?" "What? Did you just say?" Of course, hearing this, Dr. Gero is left nothing short of gobsmacked. So much information that just couldn't be known by anyone other than himself, as he immediately queries, How could he possibly know about Cell as well? 16 is one thing, but this is impossible. That settles it. This creature cannot be mortal nor from this dimension. That kind of knowledge has to be otherworldly. And he knows, even if I've lost 17 and 18, I cannot lose Cell. Cell is my only hope for revenge on this damned planet. Now completely beaten mentally and accepting his predicament, Dr. Gero solemnly looks at the ground and remains in total silence, using the mass computer power stored within his body to compute exactly what he must do for the highest probability of survival, before eventually looking up at Vegito and lifting his arm to point to his right. He finally then concedes, "Okay, I get it. I give up. You win. Your existence and knowledge of things you should not know will most likely never be answered. So let us just begin and get this over with. Come here and get on the operating table, and we can start as you wish." And on hearing this, an immediate smirk of gratification then finds itself to Vegito's face, knowing he had finally broken the old man down to get what he wanted, as he lets out finally, "Excellent, Doctor. I knew you'd see it my way eventually. I guess you toasters can be useful sometimes." And so some days pass, and we eventually return to see Ultra Vegito in an operating room within Gero's lab, with the android doctor himself beside, overseeing everything that is happening. Most curiously though, as we peer at the presumably unconscious Vegito's face, we notice, even when connected up to oxygen and with his eyes closed, he still maintains his Ultra form. A showcase of either just how much he has now mastered the form, or a sign he is ready even in this state for any sudden attack from Gero or the numerous gods that now want his head. But most importantly, now in place of where his left arm once was, is a completely robotic arm, still in what seems to be an alpha stage with no skin covering it, and noticeably thicker and more durable than even the ultra-powerful limbs of 17 and 18. The beginning of Cyborg Ultra Vegito's story has just begun. But as Dr. Gero watches over, it's clear he does still bear hatred in his heart and a mystery ulterior motive, as he thinks to himself, with him being so vulnerable right now, you'd think I could just finish him as is. Maybe with poison. Maybe by implanting a self-detonating bomb on his heart. But with there being no data on him, and just how easily he dealt with 17 and 18, I wouldn't even be surprised if he could wake up at the very minute I attempted anything. No science in the world could ever explain exactly the kind of powers I have witnessed from this man. But soon, deep in his thoughts, a smile for some reason comes to Gero as he continues, but if I'm to be forced like this, like a pitiful dog to do his wishes, by God, I will receive compensation in my own way. His power, his techniques, his DNA. Whoever and whatever this is will be fed directly to you, my greatest creation. You will no longer need those weaklings 17 and 18. With this fool's power, Cell will finally become perfect. Far stronger than he could have ever been with the twins. Goku, just you wait and see. And soon with that said, deep in another laboratory far off, a machine continues to work autonomously, containing a small creature. A creature that, as we get closer to, all of us as OG Dragon Ball Z fans recognize as none other than Baby Cell. But with one key horrific difference. And just like that, with the DNA, techniques and power of Ultra Vegito, this version of Cell gains Ultra Instinct. A new terror in this timeline that will surpass all others has been created by Vegito once again. And speaking of Vegito, a week later we see him once again, his back turned, now in his base form, and finally with a new top, as we can hear him mutter, "Wow, that old geezer really did do a fine job here. I can barely tell it from my old arm. It even feels the same." As soon, when we see it from the front, Vegito was indeed not lying, as the new arm now is completely lifelike, grafted on with skin that perfectly matches Vegito, finally making the smirking Saiyan whole once again, as he says, "Yes, everything went to plan. I'm even healed up, and the Zenkai I've just got from that long rest, oh boy, am I on another level right now. Not to mention, looks like Gero added all the little upgrades I needed too." And as soon as we get a closer look into the palm of Vegito's new robotic arm, it's clear at least what one of the upgrades was, as in the center of it is one of Dr. Gero's signature energy absorption devices, the same ones both he and 19 had. As Vegito then directly looks into the shining center and explains, "Perfect, just perfect. This combined with my spirit fission abilities that I learned on Yardrat will allow me to take more than just the lives of those gods. I'll take their damn godly key too." But soon noticing that Dr. Gero is also in the room, Vegito turns his head and abruptly questions, "So, old man, you're absolutely sure that this will allow me to absorb as much energy as I want, right? The same as what you and that refrigerator 19 had?" I wouldn't want to have to come back here for a refund. His senses have already come back to him. How is he possibly sensing the presence of an android like myself when I have no key? But realizing there's no more point in questioning the unending abilities of Vegito, he then responds, "Yes, just as you wished. I've modified and supplied you a version that's even more advanced than ours. One that is more suitable to your own vastly different capabilities. You should be able to absorb as much energy as your body can handle. But after studying your DNA and anatomy closely, it's hard to know if you even have limits." But Vegito, hearing this, only realizes one part of what Gero had said, gaining a cocky look on his mug before replying, "So you had a little look under the hood while I was unconscious, huh, Doctor? You know, I'm not sure that's even legal, you little perv. But whatever. What I need to know is, did you make all of the upgrades I needed? Including that special one I needed done?" Hearing Vegito's first insinuation though, an awkward sweat drip comes down Dr. Gero's head as he mutters back, "No, I only looked at what was necessary actually." Before then continuing, "But yes, it took some work, some of my best even, and I still don't know how you knew so confidently about what I was capable of doing. But regardless, I've included each and every one of your requirements. Now, as promised, I have to ask you, will you leave here and spare my life as promised?" But Vegito instead gives no reply, opting to stare at Gero menacingly with a curious look as he walks towards the doctor, slowly but purposely not uttering a word until, in a surprising act, he begins lifting 2 fingers, seemingly ready to finally turn on the doctor. But what kind of gruesome method will he choose to dispose of him with? "What are you doing? Stay back! I did everything as you asked! You promised me! You promised me!" "You really took a stranger's word for granted? You really are the dumbest genius I ever laid my eyes on, aren't you? Unfortunately, this is the way things have to go." But in an incredible turn of events, Vegito ends up just patting the doctor on his shoulder, now with a far more inviting smile reminiscent of Goku, as he lets out, "Calm down, don't have a heart attack. I'm letting you survive, but not because of a simple promise. I'm letting you survive because you are a weakling, and no threat to the fighters here anymore without your puppets. 18 and 17 had to go. I already know all about your plan to have them be absorbed by your darling cell so that he can become perfect. And if you've been wondering, I know all of this because I'm from the future. And in my timeline, your plan actually worked. You were killed by 17 in just the same way he attempted earlier. But eventually, Cell did get a hold of him and his sister, but only to be eventually defeated by Son Gohan, the first Super Saiyan 2. What? This information, of course, takes Gero back tremendously. It's shocking enough to hear the existence of time travel, but now also the inconceivable defeat of a perfect Cell, as he continues, "The future? Impossible! Time travel. There's no way that could be achieved. Son Gohan, Son Goku's child defeated my perfect Cell? This is preposterous. You surely can't expect me to believe that. If you're so sure about this, then why even destroy them? Surely things would have turned out just as you said anyway! But Vegito, who is thoroughly unimpressed now, then continues. For a brilliant scientist, you sure are short-sighted. Just my appearance in this timeline has already shifted things completely. If I had let 17 and 18 live, there was no guarantee at all the rest of the timeline would go as normal. In fact, it would most definitely not. My timeline already had someone from the future arrive, and he ended up changing the events of our future completely when compared to his. What I did at the very least guaranteed Cell's destruction, now that he can never become perfect. In whatever way you cut it, that would always be a good thing for the future of this universe. Dr. Gero again then becomes withdrawn, realizing what Vegito says is right, and finally asks, I see. So, what now? I guess you'll finish the job and find my dear Cell and destroy him too? But Vegito surprisingly has other ideas and responds, no, I wouldn't even know where to start looking anyway. But even then, he too is worth nothing, now that he can't absorb 17 or 18. In his imperfect form, he's now hardly any stronger than Piccolo once he fuses with Kami. But now that Goku and Vegeta are still alive too, there's not a hope in hell left for him. He'll die by their hands, not mine. But suddenly, after hearing this, Gero realizes something significant, thinking to himself, wait, he doesn't know. Of course he doesn't. He has no idea I implanted Cell with his DNA and data. He still thinks of Cell as being the same imperfect form that just about equals 16 in strength. I have to go along with this. This is my chance! And so Vegito begins walking away finally, his back turned to the doctor until... Listen, old man, just give it up. The androids, Cell, they were all destined to be defeated by Goku and his friends, regardless of whether I was here or not. It took you decades to build them, time you could have spent advancing human civilization by light years. You could have done a lot of good. Just don't waste any more of your time chasing this pipe dream. Just live your life in quiet, because if you don't, I will be back. And at first, a streak of fear rushes through Dr. Gero, but eventually he calms himself and replies, Yes, I agree. Now that I know beings like you can arrive at any time from the future, there has become just one too many variables to account for anyway. Continuing this plan for revenge is now just pointless. To which Vegeta responds, Good to hear. Revenge. Pointless. Before then snapping his fingers in the air, suddenly summoning Whis' staff as if after his Zenkai, his control of some of the angelic powers has increased even further. He looks down at it one final time and thinks, Finally, the time has come once again to give those deities what's coming to them. And just like that, using his time rings, Vegeta opens up a portal back to his timeline, but into an unknown universe. And staring into the dark void with his angel staff in hand, his final words to Gero are, Goodbye, Gero. You may think Cell was your greatest creation, but this arm you built me will go on to change everything you could ever imagine. stay safe. And with that, Vegito then enters the portal and leaves this timeline for what should hopefully be the last time. Help! But unfortunately, some weeks pass and a healthy, grown Cell is finally seen, standing over his prey as with his usually sadistic voice says, I love it when my food screams. As Cell iconically then stabs the old man in his back and slowly sucks into himself the very life force that held the man together, leaving behind nothing but a husk in its remains. But soon enough, a pair of familiar and respect-demanding feet land on the ground in front of the strange creature, and it is revealed to be none other than Piccolo, now fused with Kami after witnessing the power of Ultra Vegito, as the Namekian yells out, "You done picking on people who can't fight back? How about you deal with me now?" Gladly, brother. But soon, we see a close-up of Imperfect Cell's face, and this is no ordinary Cell, as his eyes glisten with a classic Ultra Instinct shine before then uttering the most unthinkable of words. Hakai! What? Brother! As instantly, Piccolo, along with the Dragon Balls, disappear forever, erased by a God of Destruction technique performed by a bio-android that Vegito had unknowingly helped create. No! Mr. Piccolo! As back on Kami's lookout, where Krillin, Trunks, Gohan and Vegeta gathered to train for the arrival of the pink blob that Vegito had warned them of, each Z-Fighter reacts in shock, horror and sadness as they sense the death and disappearance of their trusted friend. And so, under the guidance of Mr. Popo, instead of heading straight for Cell and losing for sure, each would go into the hyperbolic time chamber to train. The first being Vegeta and his son Trunks, who would both go on to ascend to the next stage of Super Saiyan, while Gohan would train with Krillin, as Goku at this time still remained bedridden. Gohan still though would unlock his Super Saiyan form after the many nightmares thinking of the death of his master Piccolo, while Krillin, in his attempt to keep up, would attain a new level of power, but one that was still far from being anywhere close to the Saiyans. And so the three Saiyans would gather together and attempt to fight this new being, Cell, at the same time. But on Cell's activation of Ultra Instinct, each and every one of them would be left in shock. Whoa! No! That looks the same as... And ultimately, with unbelievable ease, Imperfect Cell would go on to kill not only Vegeta, future Trunks, but also Team Gohan, absorbing each of them into his body after combining their brimming Saiyan life force with his own and reaching an even greater level of power. Now, only Goku is left as the last remaining Saiyan, as he soon, in the next few hours, will wake up and discover what's happened while he was away, and all because of Ultra Vegito. So our story continues with a portal opening on yet another strange planet, one with an icy landscape as snow falls rapidly, and out, popping from the portal, is the head and foot of our newly repaired and enhanced Ultra Vegito. It's cold out here. But despite the conditions, nothing could rain on Vegito's parade as he grips his android arm tightly, smiling as the artificial veins pump and bulge, commenting, I still can't believe how perfect that pensioner made this. I can practically taste Zeno's blood already. This arm will single-handedly delete those gods forever. Just you wait and see. As he holds his grip, he begins to once again think back on his goal, his motives, and all he has lost. Thinking back first on his granddaughter, beginning, Pan, I know you're not where you're supposed to be right now, but Grandpa's going to bring you back, along with Mommy and Daddy, along with everyone on Earth. I'm going to make everything right one day, and the first step will be ridding us of this disease amongst us. Zeno and the Daishinken, your days are numbered. And with his motivation back at an all-time high, he brings forth his angel staff, formerly owned by Whis, and holds it in front of him, looking down and letting out, Alright, enough! Time to do this. Take me to this universe's god of destruction! But suddenly, in typical fashion, things don't go as planned, as Vegito surprisingly senses a rising power level that's getting closer and closer. And in an instant, he looks upwards, and to his shock in the sky is a figure as Vegito yells, What? Is that a bird? No. What kind of bird has energy like that? I'm no bird, God Killer. I'm the protector of Universe 4, and you'll not step another foot further. And unbelievably in the air is none other than Ganos, the strongest fighter and leader of Universe 4's Tournament of Power team, shooting down from the sky with intensity and an energy blade in hand. Not unlike exactly how the angel Cusu did before him. Not this time, punk! Fool me once, shame on you. But fool me twice, shame on me. But this time, Vegito is clearly ready, just starting up a smile until he immediately throws away the staff, not taking his eyes off Ganos for even a second, before in its place, his right arm, the iconic Godslayer blade of Ultra Vegito extends. And Vegito then swipes it into place with speed and with a menacing grin yells out, You were slow back at the tournament, and 10 years later, nothing's changed. Begone, you amateur! And just like that, just as Ganos reaches within meters of Vegito, he is brutally and expertly stabbed through his torso by the blade made only for the gods. And in its wake, with blood spewing from his mouth, Ganos can only stare at Vegito in shock and mutter, No, Lord Kitella! And just as abruptly, then falls to the ground as Vegito mercifully removes his Godslayer blade. Ganos though is quick to get back barely on his feet, gripping his open wound as he groans in pain, barely even able to keep both his eyes open through the pain. Meanwhile though, with his blade retracted and his arms folded, Vegito smugly then tells Ganos, Nice try! But you've got a long way to go before you can even shine my boots, let alone touch me. You're lucky. I didn't hit a vital point. Probably the first person in history to feel my Godslayer blade and live to talk about it. But if you don't get that stitched up soon, I'm not sure you'll be saying much. Get out of here. I'm here for your god, not a weakling like you. But Ganos, who is infuriated by Vegito's belittling words, mutters back, You'll pay for this! That was just a lucky hit, and once I'm healed, you're done for. I only wish I did at least some damage to you. I feel like I've failed Lord Kitella. You did! Huh? But suddenly, a cold, icy shock runs down Ganos' spine, as from his side, a familiar voice calls to him. Swiftly, he then turns his head to see if it is who he thinks it is, yelling, "No! Is that you, Lord?" And as his eyes meet with the assailant, his skin goes pale, and his mouth agape, almost as if he has finally met his maker. "No! I tried my best! Please! Lord Kitella!" As standing there, truly unimpressed and menacingly, is revealed to be none other than Kitella, god of destruction of Universe 4, and his angel attendant, Cognac, who sports an equally cold stare. As Kitella continues, "How pathetic! Shame on me for ever relying on a filthy mortal. You failed me at the Tournament of Power, but at least there you did something. How can you even call yourself worthy of our universe, and my student no less, when you couldn't even scratch this Universe 7 vermin?" And in response, a pleading Ganos, who almost already knows what is coming, sports a terrified look as he cries out one final time, But, I didn't see his attack! He moved too fast! Please, it won't happen again!" "I know it won't! Hakai!" But without warning, or even a semblance of the mercy Vegito showed, Kitella places his arm out and destroys Ganos instantly. And with a deathly silence in the air, Ganos, the brave warrior of Universe 4, becomes no more, lost to the wind for eternity and never to be seen again, erased by the one god he served with utter loyalty to the very end. And with the horrific deed now done, the heartless god reveals a smirk on his face as if pleased at his actions, and adds salt to the wound, saying, "Pitiful, truly pitiful. Ganos, you are not worthy to even exist in my universe, let alone fight by a god's side. With that trash out of the way, I can finally fight without restraint." And just as coldly, Cognac adds in agreement, "Agreed, my lord. To think even with our personal training, that was the most he could amount to. We shall find a fitting replacement for him after disposing of our guest here." You! But Vegito, meanwhile, has not kept his cool in the slightest, incensed by witnessing just the kind of act that spurred him to erase all the gods in the first place. His power level can't help but shoot forth as a dark electricity generates all around him, and he lets out, "You damn gods are all the same! Why? Why would you need to erase him? He fought for you! To his last moments, his only thoughts were about letting you down. This disgusting system has given you the power to erase him without consequence? This is exactly why I do what I do!" With immediately a thunderous roar, Vegito yells at the top of his voice, no longer able to contain his rage and power anymore, as his hair begins to spike and his eyes flash, making it seem a mystery what form he is going into. But in a surprising turn of events, Vegito enters his Super Saiyan 2 form, his hair fully spiked, his eyes emerald green, and his aura yellow. But noticeably, the electricity that surrounds him is instead a dark black purple in color. "Prepare yourself, you damn rat! I'm coming for your tail!" Huh? Coming for my But watching Vegito, Kitella is just left puzzled. Partly by what he's saying, but mostly by his transformation, as he turns to his attendant and asks, Cognac, that form, isn't that just one of the weaker and more generic forms those Saiyans use? I believe even Champa's Universe 6 Saiyans could do that. Why isn't he using his full power? But Cognac, looking on at Vegito with an equally puzzled face, can only respond, I don't know, my lord. There are some differences, but judging by the power level I'm sensing, it's far from his maximum. He may be testing your abilities. Stay on guard regardless, my lord. But suddenly, before the pair can discuss any more, Vegito, surrounded in his aura and his mystery dark electricity shooting forth from his body, he is finally ready to fight, yelling once more, Stop squeaking about! You say Ganos wasn't worth a thing? But I'll show you, you aren't worth me using even 10% of my power! What? But the extremely narcissistic god, hearing this blasphemy, is immediately angered, reacting back, How dare you underestimate a deity? Beerus must have told you nothing of Kitella, but you'll learn today, God Killer! As in response, Lord Kitella too then powers up, as his pupils disappear and her Kaishin energy surrounds his body completely, as he now enters his max destruction god form. Jumping quickly in at Vegito, leaving his attendant as he says, Stay behind, Cognac! Don't interfere until this cocky mortal starts taking this seriously! As immediately, Kitella and Vegito's fists collide for massive impact, with not only Kitella trying hard, but also noticeably, Vegito pushing himself to keep up while in this form. But as Kitella cocks back his fist to punch Vegito, a smile comes back across Vegito's face as he thinks, That's it, Mickey Mouse! Do as the Pied Piper says! With Kitella's first punch being grabbed directly by the palm of Vegito's left arm. And similarly to Kitella's kick as well, while Vegito keeps a close eye on exactly how he's stopping each attack. And soon when it comes time for Vegito to throw out his own punch, it too is stopped in its tracks, this time by Kitella, highlighting there being no real difference between the two in power. Instantly, the two would then vanish simultaneously to continue their battle. All the while, Kitella's angel attendant Cognac watches on with a look of concern. This is going better than expected. Collision after collision would then be seen in the air above, as the two fight on an equal level, trading and parrying each other's blows, but once more, as Cognac observes closer from down below, he begins to think introspectively, Something isn't right. Lord Kitella is keeping up, but he should be winning while Vegito is in this form. Why isn't that Saiyan even going for the kill? Is he enjoying the battle? If this goes on any longer, I may need to intervene regardless of Kitella's wishes. But soon, the dynamic of the battle begins to change, as Kitella's attack misses for the first time. Lucky dodge, punk! Take this! Following this, Kitella launches a powerful kick, and this time it lands, but Vegito neither blocks nor parries it, as his body doesn't even flinch from its impacts. What? What just happened? Why did that not feel right? But before Kitella could wonder any more about what just happened, Vegito grabs onto the god's ankle, and most importantly, with his left arm once again. Let go! Let go! Kitella for a moment struggles hard, but it feels like Vegito's grip is a clamp that cannot be broken. Ordinarily, nothing like this should be able to stop a god of destruction from moving, but something truly is off. Forget it! If you desire to be so close to me, then feel the wrath of my Hakai! Ha! Reaching out his palm eagerly to the flinchless Vegito until, in a thoroughly anticlimactic end, nothing but a puff of smoke comes out of Kitella's hand, while Vegito looks at it to his left with a complete poker face, as if expecting it the whole time, only letting out, "So what part of that was supposed to be a Hakai, Mickey?" What? What is this? Where has my power gone? What have you done? As suddenly, a frightful look comes across Kitella's face as he finally begins to realize what's been going on. Immediately, he falls to his knees, his palms slamming the ground, as the mouse now stares at the ground on all fours, having reverted back to his base state by force. He can hardly believe what's going on as he mutters in confusion. What happened? My energy, it's gone. I'm exhausted. This is impossible. But soon, as we are treated to an image of the energy absorption bead within the center of Vegito's left arm, it all becomes clear to us, as Vegito looks down with a smirk and lets out, My, this energy absorption device Dr. Giro built truly is something else. It works so much faster than I anticipated. Or maybe that's just the effect of my spirit fission. I didn't even need to power up much at all to drain you down to nothing. Thanks for all of that sweet, sweet destruction energy. It's all mine now. All yours? It can't be. What is he talking about? When would he have even... No, don't tell me. As suddenly a flashback comes to Kitella, which explains exactly where he must have had his energy stolen. As he thinks back to his fight and notices at every point, every punch, kick and grab, Vegito was using his left arm. The one android arm he possesses, which has Giro's energy absorption device. I knew it! I knew it! And from afar, also realizing the trickery that has just befell his lord, fury bubbles within the angel Cognac until... You damn god killer! Get away from Lord Kitella! As in an outburst like none other, the angel screams out for his god and student, instantly activating his ultra instinct, before with angelic speed rushing straight at Vegito, knowing all too well what the god killer will do now as he yells, Lord Kitella! I cannot stand any longer! The minute you die, my powers will disappear too! I must fight to save us both! But with a turn of his head and an evil smirk on his face, Vegito calmly says, I'm well aware of what happens to you when that happens, and I can't have that. He won't die, not until I'm done taking your powers too. What? Take my powers too? Has he lost his mind? An angel's power is not of energy. It is of our very life force itself, formed by Father. Surely, that device cannot absorb that too. But before Cognac can even fathom Vegito's nonsensical claims, Vegito vanishes. But with Without warning, the angel then finds himself suddenly covered in an ominous darkness as he looks up and sees something unbelievable. And there, levitating in the air, surrounded in a giant apparition of himself, created solely from his mastered Ultra Instinct aura, is Ultra Vegito, now in his final form, ready to finish Cognac, as the angel can only step back in fear and mutter, "What is that?" But staring down like a god himself, turning the tables, Vegito looks down at Cognac coldly and remarks, "Remember this feeling, angel. This feeling of hopelessness. This feeling of being completely outclassed and overpowered. Killed for no reason other than being lower in the food chain. This is the feeling Ganos and all the other countless people you and Kitella have erased felt in their final moments. And now, these will be yours." Which leaves Cognac nothing short of stunned, unable to even form sentences as he thinks on Vegito's poignant words and just how much conviction he has behind them. Until suddenly, as expected, Ultra Vegito makes his move, as the large apparition begins raising its hands and bringing them closer to a panicking Cognac until... in an instantaneous and rough swoop, giant Ultra Vegito slams his palms together surrounding the angel, trapping him and restricting his movement entirely as the deity screams in agony. And mercilessly, giant Ultra Vegito then crushes further and further Cognac's body, as his very bones break and shatter within his body and blood leaks from the very cracks of Vegito's fists. As the giant Vegito laughs with a downright evil look from behind. Soon though, the true and real Vegito eventually levitates down to the completely incapacitated angel, and with a gratified smile lets out, "So, how does it feel? Sorry for the tight grip. I just want you to hold still while I take all that angelic power." But the now near-death angel mutters back still in defiance, You fool! Whatever that mortal-made monstrosity is, it will have no effect on an angel. I was handcrafted by the one true Grand Priest himself, as were all my brothers and sisters. My very being and body is my strength. It's the very reason our powers can be switched off an instant on the death of our destroyers. Try all you want, but you will absorb nothing. But it seems Vegito's response at first is only to crush the angel's body even more for his insolence. Until finally, with his left hand raised to his face and a sinister smile, Ultra Vegito reveals, "Thanks for the information, but you must not know just how much your dear brother Whis told me about you angels. Rest assured, I came prepared for just this very moment." And suddenly, in a shocking turn of events, the hand of Ultra Vegito's android arm snaps right off, holding on by a single joint, as in its place reveals a mystery needle that may seem instantly recognizable to any of us OG Dragon Ball Z fans. But the surprises don't end there, as immediately following forth, a one-to-one copy of the same technology used to create Cell's tail shoots rapidly out from Vegito's forearm, as it is revealed yet another of Vegito's special upgrades that he specifically asked from the doctor. he now possesses not only the infinite energy engine, energy absorption, but also the life force draining of imperfect Cell. And with rapid movement, the tail makes its move as if almost moving by itself, and within nanoseconds... What is this? It stabs directly into the jugular vein of the confused Cognac. Just as fast working as the energy absorption beads, the effects of the life drain are instant, as Cognac screams of pain quickly dissolve into quiet moans as his skin collapses inwards. Meanwhile, watching in pleasure, Ultra Vegito remains with a smile thinking, I can feel it. I can feel his divine energy become one with my own. To think, that damn Cell had the pleasure of doing this over and over. Greedy bug. And as Vegito thinks, Cognac is left to be a mess of inward, caving flaps of skin, until finally, in a horrific image, not a trace more of his life force remains, leaving behind just a husk of the former divine entity. Of course, watching this all unfold from a distance is still the completely exhausted and energyless Kitella, just barely crawling to one knee, before with a look of pure fear that has never struck a god so hard before, he watches the bizarre creature Vegito literally absorb the very flesh and organic matter of his angel before him, all through a green tail that shot forth from his robotic arm. As he mutters, This is a Saiyan? What kind of monsters are they? But Vegito, now done with his angel victim, retracts immediately the tail, shutting his hand back onto his forearm once again like nothing happened. And with his arm back in one piece, for a moment he stares at his fist, assimilating the immense divine energy he has just taken in, thinking, amazing! 6 gods and 6 angels remain. With their power added on, I can't even begin to imagine what I will finally unleash on those 2 midgets. Referring of course to the Grand Priest and Zeno. Before without a word more, Ultra Vegito then turns his body and aims his right hand towards Kitella and the now dropped on the ground husk of Cognac, and yells, Akai! Blasting forth the signature finisher of God-Killer Vegito. And just like that, without the 2 deities literally being able to do a thing, Kitella yells, No! You monster! As he turns to dust, and the already deceased angel, who is nothing more than a bag of skin now, also then returns to the universe as particulate matter. And with now 2 more gods added to his kill list, Vegito finally descends from the sky and lands with a thud on the ground. But before long, Vegito grabs onto his stomach and grins widely as something uncontrollable builds within him. An uncontrollable laughter. Fear my wrath, you remaining deities, for I am the God Killer! Maniacally laughing in victory as his newfound power explodes from his body, and a truly immense aura that shakes the universe itself is shot forward. And from afar, as the scene pans out, we see the scope of the fluxing aura. But on an even greater pan out, we see finally that Vegito is in fact being watched again in a crystal ball. But this time, by none other than the Grand Priest himself, making his first appearance since he knocked out Ultra Vegito all those years ago, as he looks down with a dark look of disapproval and says, "Zeno-sama, remind me, when exactly do you want me to do something about this? How far do we let this circus go on? When all our gods and angels have gone missing?" To which we then finally see Zeno with a blank and lifeless expression unlike any we have ever seen before, and he responds, "Not yet. Not yet." But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag color in the comments down below, and head over to my new Patreon right now to see the next episode with this insane artwork. Ultra Vegito fully colored, voice acted, soundtracked, and edited the way it was always meant to be seen. Starting from just $3, it's the deal of the century.